Hello again, welcome to another blog article. Yeah, I'm working on some content for a future course. I really wanted to talk to you about this, and as promised, today's the 22nd of July 2020. It's a Wednesday, and as we know, the big plans have been laid to rest. All these ideas for conferences, holidays, whatever we planned, and I had planned machine learning and deep learning. For some reason, those fell off the wagon. Even though I know a little bit of Python, I do know Perl, Awk, Sed, Bash, various shells. Been programming with them for decades now. I have been looking at Apache POI, which is this thing here, and it's an old friend. I have long experience working in the financial industry, and I used to generate these sort of poor man's crystal reports, which is spreadsheets for the uninitiated and for managers to show documentation or a summary. And I found once upon a time open source helped really with the stakeholder. Apache Software Foundation created this project called POI, which stands for Poor Man's Object Obfuscation Implementation, actually. And this is because Microsoft proprietary format for Excel and Word documents were compromised and reversed engineered. And there is a handy developer's guide called the Busy Developer's Guide to HSF and XSF features, and I just use this to read and write spreadsheets, for example, and you'll find lots of handy documentation here. How to open up a workbook, create a spreadsheet, create rows, then create cells in those rows, and there's all sorts of things you can do. So if you look at some of this code here in the example, there's even things like working with dates, and the developers at Apache have been busy because it even works with Java 8 dates, local date time and local date. So that's pretty handy. And what else have I been doing? Professionally, I've been looking at Angular 8 and 9. I can't remember which version now. And if you know me very well, I first worked with Angular JS in 2014 when it was just a JavaScript framework. Now everything since 2015 is TypeScript. As health-wise, I've been running 7 clicks every other morning. Therefore I'm missing football, amateur football. I only played leisure, like a 7, 8, 9, 11 aside, around Milton Keynes anyway, and I gave up the Sunday League decades ago now, it feels like. Professionally, I'm working with a local client on full stack engineering, part of the engineering team, and of course it's Angular 8, 9, not React, HTML5, CSS3 and JavaScript are prerequisite technologies that you should know to work and develop these sort of single page applications. And so I could recommend, if you don't know anything about JavaScript, that you at least, to get on to the next stage, look at Douglas Crockford's JavaScript, the Good Parts book, for that essential knowledge. It's an intermediate JavaScript programming book, so you need to have knowledge of JavaScript already. And then there's this, every engineering company I seem to have, even though my local client is using Java 8, even though code compiles using Java 11, we're not using modules, for example, in the microservices cloud environment. One has to think, are modules even worth it these days? I think the shift of modularization is in the world of the monolith or the majestic monolith, and maybe for those sort of applications where you're bundling lots of jars into this composite whole, it made sense. 5 years, perhaps 7 years ago, it made sense. In this world of transient services and microservices, service orientated architecture, doesn't quite make sense, modules. And that means for me Spring Boot. Last year I was using Golang, and I saw a little bit of that world of Go. It's interesting. I'm back comfortably in the Spring Boot 2.2 version 2.0 world, and Kubernetes is king. And from my part of engineering, don't see it that much because it's, as you know, OpenShift. Red Hat's OpenShift is covers a lot of the DevOps deployments there. Yeah, and of course it's provided by Pivotal as well. Anyway, that's as far as I'm going to give you in this blog, and it's been short and sweet. And perhaps I'll show you in the future Apache POI and give a little insight as to how useful it is. So see you there.